Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Closing the Loop, Sales and Service Joining Forces. In this webinar today, we will show you why you need solid communication channels, robust handoff processes, and technology that makes the hard things easier for sales and service teams so that you can focus on creating customers for life. So I do want to take a moment to do a few introductions. Today, you have four wonderful webinar hosts from SugarCRM. You have Charles Hicks, General Manager of SugarServe, Roy Grubbs, Customer Success Manager, and Mariel Delcide, Customer Success Director. And my name is Sarah Friedlander Garcia, and I am the Director of Content Marketing at SugarCRM. And before we get started, we wanted to start off with a poll question to kind of jumpstart everything. So how well do you think your sales and service teams are working together? So I'm going to go ahead and launch this. And Charles, maybe while I launch this, if you could speak a bit more to this topic as we let our webinar attendees cast their vote.
Sure. Thanks a bunch, Sarah. Yeah, I think sales and service teams working together can really create a powerful combination inside of your business. Thinking about the strength of the relationship that gets built through your service organization with your customers, the trust and the value that your customers get from interacting with your service teams. How do you funnel that back into the sales process and link those two ends of the business up together? And I think the key is really just understanding the journey that your customers go on and when those handoffs might be necessary, right? But there's plenty of examples of companies out there in the wild that do this well. And after we get through this poll, we'll take a deeper look at the benefits of linking these two sides of the business together and some of the approaches and techniques that can help you guys accelerate this inside of your own business.
Thank you very much. So I think we've pretty much got everyone that's cast their ballot. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. And I think what's really interesting is nobody said that they got it nailed. Most of the responses, 65%, there is room for improvement, and 23% was, we're just starting our alignment efforts. So I think this content is really relevant to everyone. Really interesting. So now just, to do a quick overview of our agenda, we will be taking a quick look at what is the return on investment from aligning sales and service experience. And then we'll jump into 5 challenges and 6 best practices to align both departments. And then we'll finish with a look at the combined power of sales and service software before opening up for our Q&A. So at this point, I'd like to hand it over to you, Charles, that you can take us through sales and service ROI.
All right. So anytime that you're going to set off on a venture like this of getting two different parts of the business to work together, it's a really good idea to understand what the pot of gold is at the end of the rainbow, right? It's hard to get people to change if there's not the right incentives. So let's take a couple minutes and just dive into some metrics that y'all can use in your own business to help sell this type of initiative. So I think the first one to look at is just this is the most important one, right? It's a universal truth that companies who have best-in-class customer experience outperform companies that don't. And if you think about anytime you've had a really good brand or customer experience, how that made you feel as a customer, how that drove additional transactions and loyalty, those are all the outcomes that we're looking for, when doing this type of thing. So I think a couple of metrics that frame the reason why companies who have best-in-class customer experience outperform those that don't, just a couple of simple ones, is that sales and service professionals most of the time don't actually have a complete view of the customer. They don't have a place that they can go to see the journey that the customer's been on with the business, and what their cumulative experiences have been. When sales and service teams have that information, they can make the right decisions. And so, there doesn't have to be this grand architected customer experience. Just giving people a place to go to find this information helps them provide a better customer experience. And then additionally, if you've thought through your customer experience to the point where you're looking at retention and loyalty and referrals, you're going to see a big lift in your business and how you're cultivating those customers for life. And I think we can see some of the factors that impact things like retention and loyalty. It really comes back to the idea of orchestrating these interactions across your business in a very clean and predictable manner with, with good handoffs and things like that. But the quantitative benefits, and this is backed up by tons of research that I would encourage everybody to go look at. But improved customer experiences lead to improved customer growth, and that leads to improved customer retention, right? And the factors here are huge. 29% customer growth, 29% increase in customer retention. These are massive improvements to the business, that if you're, say, a $10 million or $50 million a year business, just making this your number one initiative could lift your bottom line by 10% or more, right? So these are multi-million dollar projects. I think they have exceptional value. They're hard because you have to think about how you get everybody working together. But I think it's easy to get started and to start probing around your organization about where the challenges might be in your own customer experience. We'll talk about a couple of areas to just take us, to just start with, right? Thinking about the Venn diagram of sales and service and where they overlap. Three kind of major categories that I always encourage customers to take a deeper look at is things like handoff points, right? So, what happens after a customer buys, right? Where do they get routed to? How does that handoff occur? Another common area of sales and service teaming up that can create a much better customer experience is how you close the loop with your customers, right? So if you have a product warranty issue, how do you notify your customers? If you have a sales opportunity, or if a service person is talking with a customer and they express a need or an interest in one of the products, how does that service person let the salesperson know that there's an opportunity there, right? So, how do you do lead handoff and opportunity handoff? And then I think last but not least, which, coming from a technical background, I never thought this one was as important, but man, it's probably the most important is, how do you stay connected with your customers on an ongoing basis? How do you take their temperature on a regular basis, both from a sales and service perspective? And how do you just keep in front of the types of issues that customers like them might encounter, and drive those proactive communications back to them before the issues happen? That creates a feeling of connectedness and understanding, between your brand and your customers, that ultimately drives customer retention and loyalty. So I'm going to hand this over to Roy and Mario, but they're going to start diving into the top 5 challenges and on aligning your sales and service teams, and go a little bit deeper on how our product can help facilitate that.
Thanks so much, Charles. And as Charles alluded to, some of those deeper level thoughts and questions about your process are required in order to fully control your customer experience. There's going to be many roadblocks that organizations and businesses face when executing between sales and service. We may see it in our professional life or in our personal lives as well. Too often, there are gaps that occur during handoff from sales to service, or from even service to sales, right? So just starting with sales to service, this may look like a new project that was sold, a new customer that just signed, or a new issue raised to, let's say, the account manager that required technical support to resolve. From service to sales, it could be some type of change order in a project, or a new ticket that actually qualifies as a sales opportunity for your team. A number of different ways that can be done. But without those processes and tools in place to arm your employees, your user experience, or UX as we call it, that lacks, which in turn reflects on your customer experience, or what we call CX. So what we do to avoid those UX and CX gaps there, if you can just go forward again, what we do to address those gaps here at Sugar is to create some automated workflow processes via the Sugar BPM tool, and then in turn visualize those steps for our teams and users, what steps they need to take by utilizing the customer journey plugin. That helps align sales and service to sales, and again, as Charles alluded to, staying connected with your customers, and also staying connected internally. Your teams are armed with all of the knowledge to be able to push those processes forward. So you may have, phone support, chat support, email support, and even others, right? Each of your employees in these areas may not have access to the critical information needed to steer a conversation in the proper fashion when supporting customers. Sales then sees siloed data and doesn't have a clear picture on how their customer experience has been or what they've inquired about even. So what this causes is kind of the fear of the unknown, which can directly then affect the customer relationship. So what we do to address those concerns is using Sugar Live. Our team members can combine voice and chat visually in one dashboarded view while consuming existing information about customers so that every customer interaction provides value and you stay in the known. So kind of the opposite, fear of the unknown. If you're always staying in the known, you're taking advantage of getting in front of every situation that comes up with your customers, and also, providing value in every conversation. So staying on and focusing on these silos, we can break that down into some core areas of departments, processes, and people. Every organization is siloed in some way, shape, or form, and some aspects do need to be siloed to some extent. However, the core functions and pillars of how your business runs needs to have synergy and be flush between each unit of your team. Having this controlled on both the front and the back end will pay dividends to your perceived value and customer satisfaction, or what we call CSAT. Some of those core areas that should never be siloed are the utilized platforms of your internal teams, right? So staying on an all-in-one solution, not being separate. Also, your customer data and history being together, and then understanding your CSAT, your customer satisfaction. I can't tell you how many times in my own life where I've called the customer service department myself to re-report a similar issue where I've called previously, and then I had to tell the agent about my previous call. Now, that should never happen. So getting in front of something like that, at the very least, lets the customer know that you care and that you listen. So we strive to get better at this every day here at Sugar and have the right tools in place for Sugar Sell and Sugar Serve to perfect this approach using the tool's strengths and creating those workflows, staying in front of the customer, knowing everything that they've done in the past, and continuing to provide value. I love this concept right here. Right. So in sales, you have rep quotas, you have renewal rates if you're in a recurring business type of model, and in service you have case velocity and customer satisfaction scores and surveys. But what about the areas where it requires the teamwork between the two? This goes back to silos, right? So without sales and service being together on one platform, it's incredibly difficult to even think about setting goals for how they work together. So let's face it, and I spoke to it before, there's always a disconnect to some level, right? The foundation, though, is having the data there for both departments, and then having things like dashboards presented to your employees, and then your management team will allow for some critical thought as we kind of know how we can motivate or incentivize the business units to work more closely together via these KPIs. So, high-level example, how many support cases have directly or indirectly led to new sales for your account management team, right? That's it doesn't seem that crazy, but that's such a critical metric to provide, or understand how both sides of your team are providing value to your customers. So this is critical data to know in order to build upon it and then augment those revenue streams, continuing to find new streams, add to streams, and overall growth of your business. So talk about technology, right? So by having many units of your business in one centralized system, it eliminates a lot of the headaches with bringing data in from external applications. Inevitably, there are many systems that a business utilizes, right? We all know that, and they cannot all come from the same exact vendor. The question then is, how can I bring that data in efficiently from a technical and a budget perspective? Maybe you have your own developers or have a freelance third party that has coded for you in the past and want to own integrations, let's say using vendor APIs that are available to you. The unknown then is the cost to maintain and how you will support yourself should things go wrong. Instead, your recommendation, step back, take a look at where your centralized solution truly is or where you want it to be, and see what integration options they offer and support. It could save you time, money, and mental health, really. We help customers every day with this approach at Sugar using Sugar Integrate, which can be the connector for all the applications you use while being cost effective and fully supported under the umbrella. The team here loves to do the heavy lifting, while managers, really up to business owners, can just focus on strategy and growth using the data they're being provided there. All right, so something to think about and some food for thought. So now Mario will actually go deeper into some of these best practices and expand a little bit upon kind of the problems and solutions that I've discussed today. So Mario, take it away.
Thank you, Roy. SugarCRM, we're working with thousands of customers around the world, helping marketing, sales, and service teams to finally get a clear picture of each customer. So what I'm going to present you today are some of the best practices to align sales and service based on our own experience working with those customers all over the world. So like many companies, we as Sugar have gone through a cross-departmental review process to improve our internal coordination to offer the best possible customer experience. And we are using our own lessons learned aligning sales and service teams to help our customers improve their organizations. So the questions that you see here are some of the key ones that we have identified to work very well to start an internal analysis to design alignment strategies. So this could be a really long list, but what we consider critical points include managing at-risk customers, improving customer satisfaction and retention. How are we coordinating better for additional revenue in the customer base? If we have any difference of, or we have the opportunity to route effectively opportunities from support to sales. How do we manage cases based on the account status, type of customers? If we are getting feedback proactively from customers, and also if we are identifying tasks that can be automated or streamlined with self-service. So customer journey mapping is a very powerful tool for customer-centric business management, and this should be a cross-departmental process aiming for business impact and should be also based on the CX strategy you have established. It will allow us to identify all the stages and interactions that prospects and customers are having with our company, but we should go beyond or just capturing touch points. An effective customer journey map, in our experience, will also include business goals and related KPIs, as well as organizational activities, who are the responsible teams, technology systems to support, and most importantly, what is the desired customer experience. So this process will help us review the role of each department in the whole customer journey, and it's very helpful to uncover gaps, silos, identify friction points to define strategies to improve. And we should remember that we rarely get a second chance to make a great impression with the customer, so we need to get every interaction right. Once we have the customer journey map, we can rely on the SugarCRM platform to automate processes, showing the relevant information to each team, and at the end, achieving a high definition view of the customers, which will be available to the whole organization. We have seen that most successful companies are the ones that have a clear understanding of their CX strategy and how it connects to the business objectives. This helps achieving a better balance between departmental initiatives and the overall customer experience. So in our experience, it's crucial to designate owners of KPIs inside the organization and that these KPIs are evaluated on a regular basis. We need to make sure also that all improvement activities are consistent with the CX KPIs and that customer experience management is a continuing initiative. And I would like to share here an example we developed at Sugar, because in the past, we were collecting feedback from our customers mainly when we closed a support case. While this was very important and we were receiving a lot of interesting comments, most of the time the feedback was specific about our support team or about the issue the customer was experiencing. So we didn't have the same level of information from other stages in the customer journey. So what we did is rolling out a new voice of the customer program, which is allowing us to get meaningful feedback from our customers on a more regular basis. And now we have more information available to be discussed in the regular reviews of our CX or departmental KPIs, and it's helping us designing improvement initiatives involving different departments. So one of the most important practices you can implement is to design seamless handoff processes, but you also need to enable your teams with the best technology to offer an exceptional customer experience. What you can see here is just one example of the processes you can design and deploy using the SugarCRM platform. In this case, from an incoming call or chat with personalized greetings to dynamic routing, finding the best person to help, and then automatically generating related records and orchestrating follow-up actions. It's important to note in this example that the AI power sentiment analysis incorporated into SugarCRM can empower service professionals to produce the right answers and outcomes quickly and confidently. Also, this information is available for managers to evaluate the overall customer experience, and so they can provide means for continuous improvement. So obviously, one of the main goals for aligning sales and services is to create a complete view of the customer. And these are some of the questions we have found useful to refine processes around the customer. But I would like to share some of my personal experience as well. For myself, as a SugarCRM platform user, when I check the information of any of my customers, I have full visibility of all the support cases, all the interactions with the customer by any team member at Sugar, and even if there's an outstanding payment or an open case that it has not been resolved. So it's important for me to have a clear visibility of any issue that can negatively impact the customer experience and act timely and efficiently. So using our automated processes, I can be informed immediately about an upsell or cross-sell opportunity identified by support. I can also get notified about a priority case submitted by one of my customers, and I can escalate it to speed its resolution if needed. I can also coordinate with other teams when we receive feedback or when we have a risk situation. And with this, we have greatly improved our retention rates and additional revenue results in the past couple of years. On the other hand, when a customer submits a support case, the support agent has access to all the relevant details about this account, including all the purchase history, all recent cases, and all the relevant interactions by other departments with this customer. So this is helping us having a much better customer experience. I would like to mention that in the article, Key Initiatives for Improving Your Customer Experience, this was published in September 2020 by IDC Research. They identified two main challenges that companies are facing to improve their CX strategy. The first one was that the customer data is siloed across the enterprise. And the second one is the proliferation of tools used for the customer experience. So having one common customer data platform supporting your CX strategy will help you creating loyal customers, achieving faster growth and stronger retention, while aligning all relevant departments involved in the customer journey. So at the end, the goal is to have offer a much better customer experience. You can also reduce the busy work from your teams by capturing data automatically and automating tasks so they can focus on higher value activities. You can also have access to relevant information from past, present, and even future with AI-enabled insights and predictions. And finally, our own experience at Sugar has shown that customer service plays a critical role in CX. An improved CX strategy and a better alignment between sales and service will boost revenue in your company. So in practical terms, if we offer a superior customer service, this can lead to increased revenue. Happy and loyal customers are more likely to continue buying from our company, but we need the right tools and insights to proactively act to preserve and expand revenue. Service agents can trigger the creation and routing of an opportunity to the right account manager, as I mentioned before in my example. Also, when they receive positive feedback, they can orchestrate follow-up actions with marketing and sales to continue building loyalty, and also to leverage this opportunity to capture the story of the customer or to include them into a reference program that will help us attracting new customers. On the other hand, field service agents with the proper tools such as Sugar Sell and Service with mobile technology, they can get customers approvals on site. They can trigger the generation of quotes or getting internal approvals immediately to be able to close additional service and products or spare parts sales immediately. So definitely we can use also field service to improve our revenue. And finally, we can leverage the expertise and insights from our customer service organization to build loyalty, improve the processes, and the overall CX strategy. And with this, I would like to hand it over to Charles Hick.
Thanks, Mario. So let's just, let's put a bow on all this and talk about the combined power of sales and service software. I think if you look at the market and you look at vendors out in the market that are participating in this space, we are one of the few vendors that has both sales and service on a single platform. And as Roy and Mario articulated earlier, that platform really is key to managing those handoffs and making sure that you have data, processes, KPIs, all the information in a single place for both sides of the organization. And building on top of those platform capabilities gives you the ability to take the blind spots out of key aspects of your business processes and your personnel, so that your service teams understand what's going on with the customer from a sales perspective, and your sales teams understand what's going on with the customer from a service perspective. I can't tell you in my 15 years of doing CRM how many companies I've worked with that don't have that single view of the customer, before they start their journey with Sugar. So really focusing on taking those blind spots out of your business is key, and it will pay dividends. I think the other point that a lot of people on the ground struggle with these types of systems is how much data entry they have to do to get any value out of the system. Well, if you've got sales and service teams both tracking key customer milestones and interactions in the system, you've got a data ratio that's much greater than 1-to-1, right? So the more teams that are feeding the system with data, the more insights you can pull out of it, the more you can put that data in context, automate those handoffs, and play the orchestra per se, right? So taking advantage of that combined platform helps reduce the amount of data entry and busy work that your employees have to do to actually drive those insights. And I think that's really, really important, both for adoption and for end user satisfaction. I think the other component that I've seen a lot of companies struggle with over the years is how they can automate or take the roadblocks away from customer experience improvement, right? It's like, how big is your toolbox? How many different processes can you automate, using your current tool set? Can you do that without involving IT? Sugar gives you these capabilities, and things like adjusting case routing based on a customer disposition or the territory that they're in, or the name of their dog, right? All of that information can be taken into account, and let the platform do the work to route the cases or to route the leads, or to raise notifications or alerts to your internal teams when something happens with the customer that requires their attention, right? So really leveraging the capabilities of the platform and the automations of the platform to take those roadblocks out of the process and drive a consolidated single view of the customer. So, we've put a couple of tools together to help y'all get started on profiling and inventorying your customer experience process. And I think the customer experience assessment is a great tool to get a high level view of where you might have some opportunity to improve the customer experience inside of your own business. This is a fairly short assessment. It takes less than half an hour, and it's like a questionnaire that you can walk through, and it'll ask you just a number of questions about different parts of your business and how mature you think you are in those areas, and it'll spit out a CX score, which will help you socialize the gaps and the opportunities, and form up a more strategic conversation about how you drive this type of improvement in your business. Because I've done a lot of these customer experience projects over the years, and there's always at the front end, there's always people asking, why is this important, right? And this CX assessment will help you articulate that and organize your approach in a way that's methodical and thoughtful. So definitely take the time to check it out. It's a super cool asset, and I think it can help you guys organize your own approach and your own strategy for driving customer experience improvements across your business. And last but not least, we've been spending a lot of time building out our Sugar Club venue, and there's a lot of customers that you can collaborate with that are dealing with similar challenges inside of their business. They're not only trying to sell the vision internally, but they're trying to implement it and understand it and profile it. And Sugar Club really is a great place to come and collaborate with your peers, and just take advantage of best practices from other customers in similar industries, right? There's a lot of good information on here, and I think it's a quick way to kind of take the pulse of what's happening at Sugar, right? There's going to be there's product announcements here, there's Q&A forums and blog posts and all those types of things. So great resource for learning more about Sugar and taking advantage of best practices. Thank you. I'm going to turn it back over to Sarah.
Sounds good. So with that, I'm going to open it up to Q&A, so you can add any questions that you have into the chat box, and I will assign it to the right person. So I did see a couple questions that came in just about the recording, if that will be sent out. So about 1 to 2 business days after this webinar, we will be sending out a link to the recording as well as to the slides. So you'll have everything in your inbox if you want to rewatch this or distribute it to someone else within your organization. So those are a couple questions. Another question I have is, what are some examples of Sugar customers that have combined sales and service? So I think that would be a good one for you, Charles.
Sure. No, that's a great one. I think we have a bunch of brand leaders in our portfolio, right? So I think if you look at a company like backcountry.com, right? So, they're a Sugar customer. They actually, for a long time, we're just using basic sales and basic case management information to drive their customer experience. And they decided that they really wanted to leverage the relationships that their customer service people had built with their customers in helping them identify products or place orders. And so they took a different approach, and using Sugar, they were able to not only identify when customers were buying a product in a new category, but actually have a person who is an expert in that product category, like outdoor climbing gear or cold weather camping, reach out to a customer and consult with them, right? And say, hey, where are you going? What are you trying to do? And based on that conversation, the customer could get insights from the customer gets insights from the expert on the backcountry.com side about what gear they might need, that's missing, or maybe some better places to camp, right? So that type of experience is only made possible by combining sales and service and orchestrating those handoffs and all those types of things. So there's lots of good examples out there. Those are just a couple, but I would definitely encourage you guys to think through good customer experiences you've had, and where that sales and service handoff has been seamless to the point where you didn't even know if you were talking to a salesperson or a service person. You just felt like you were talking to somebody at the company who's trying to help you. I think those are good benchmarks to aspire to.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so next question, and this kind of aligns with, where do I start, or what kind of tips do you have on how to start a new B2B customer experience that turned to revenue?
So I think the first thing is really just looking at how you can improve the current experience you have, right? And if you're a manufacturer or a professional services company, profiling how customers move through your processes and what they're thinking about, right? It's not about getting a quote. It's about they're trying to get a quote because they need to compare offers from multiple vendors and make a decision, right? So, really putting yourself in your customer's shoes around your existing processes, I think, is the first starting point. Once you get those nailed, I think you can look at opportunities for cross-selling and expansion based on customer milestones or customer indications that you've seen drive those types of purchasing behaviors and other examples, right? So you really need to just start out by profiling what you have and then figuring out how to smooth it out. And then you can look at opportunities for cross-sell and upsell, and how to kind of layer in those handoffs and identify those indicators inside of the process. Just going back to what we already said, that CX assessment will give you the 10,000 foot view of where you need to make those improvements. And then from there, you can build little working teams that should be cross-functional teams, right? It's not just sales and service. You should pull in marketing and sales operations and all the other key stakeholders into that process to make sure that you're driving and orchestrating the right customer experience.
Perfect. This is another interesting question. How do you get the cooperation or the culture change in place? It's great to have world-class tools, but without changing the hearts and minds between sales and service, the benefits might be minimal. So I think I can just speak to this really quickly, and then I'll open it up for anyone else that wants to respond. But once you do take that CX assessment that we put together, there's a number of different resources, and one is on user adoption and culture change. So that could be a good tool to get some best practice tips in there. And then I'll open it up to Charles or Roy or Mario.
I'll say a couple things real quick, just because I love to talk. I think that the environment dictates the culture, right? If you look at history or other famous organizations or anything like that, I think what you'll see is that the environment that the leadership team creates is going to dictate the culture inside of the business. So the most important thing for getting started with customer experience is a recognition at the leadership level that this is something that needs to be addressed and that this can be a strategic advantage for the business. From there, I think you'll find that people at the mid-level or at the lower levels of the business get excited about plugging into a structure and a format that drives customer experience improvements. We all want to do the best by our customers, right? Just get the buy-in from the top that this is important, and then start organizing the projects to actually kind of map things out and drive that alignment, and people will jump on the bandwagon faster than probably any other big cross-functional project that you've seen. So, that's how I've seen people approach it, and that's what I would suggest you do.
Perfect. And then I just have one other question. Is this a new product that we're speaking about?
No, this is just sell and serve, or this is us showing, our customers how sell and serve work together, right? And, I think if you look at the history of Sugar, a lot of the sales and service automation functionality, we're traditionally packaged inside of our enterprise product. With sell and serve, we've split those out. And part of that splitting of those products, it's still the same code base, it's still the same platform, but we've been adding deeper, more kind of resilient features on each side to improve user adoption. But the same underpinnings of data and process and platform are what make those two aspects of the business work well together.
And I would like just to add that, for example, if you are using only SugarCell, you can contact us anytime and we can help you, showing you what you can achieve, by integrating also SugarServe. And we are here to help you, just if you're interested in combining those two products, we can help.
Wonderful. So if you do have any other additional questions, we will be sending out this presentation. You have access to all of our emails, or you can follow up with us even through the CX assessment. So at this point, I would like to thank everyone for attending. Also, thank you, Charles. Thank you, Mario. Thank you, Roy, for speaking at this webinar, and have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody.